This is my garage, and what we have right here is the all-new 2024 Mustang. Now, I have recently reviewed a Mustang GT of this generation before, but I felt like that video was rushed, and to make things different, this is actually the 4-cylinder EcoBoost. So would make a great comparison from that video to this. So I strongly recommend watching that one and coming back to watching this one. But if you're just in the market of a Mustang in general, don't worry, because in today's video, we're covering all the cool tips and tricks that I like to share with you guys after daily driving these Mustangs, as well as highlight its unique features that it has to offer. Because this one is actually equipped with the Recaro seats, but there's some cons I want you to be aware of about them. So, real quick, as always, right here I do have the window sticker to this vehicle. So let's go ahead and read the MSRP price. For this one was all the bells and whistles. So this is the 2024 EcoBoost Coupe Premium, a 4-seater passenger vehicle, which in reality you can only sit 2 comfortably. 2.3 liter EcoBoost with 315 horsepower, which we're gonna go ahead and pop the hood and look at it. And this one has the 10-speed automatic transmission, because from my understanding, the EcoBoost can only be purchased in an automatic. Paddle shifters, it's what's optional. But this being a premium, we have that. But if I were to give you a quick feedback about the automatic 10-speed, it's actually really good. It's super quick and responsive, more responsive than what I was originally expecting, even from a 4-cylinder equipped 10-speed. This thing is pretty quick and it really does get up and go and change gears quickly. I'm actually quite surprised. The tune that Ford is using on the Mustang EcoBoost for these generations, it's actually really good. But more on the window sticker price. So all this in total puts this vehicle at $47,590. Keep in mind that V8s now are around $50,000, and this does have the optional 201A package, which is additional $3,000. And the Recaro seats are around $1,600 additional to that price. And this does feature the active valve too. But without the options, just for the premium coupe, this one, it was MSRP priced around $36,445. So one of the neat things about this Mustang is the passless key entry. So utilizing just the key fob itself, I have the capability to walk towards the vehicle, it will automatically unlock, and walk away, it will self-unlock itself without me pressing on the door handles or the key fob, which I think for a pony car, because the BRZ did not have this feature, this is, again, one of the coolest features for this vehicle that I really do enjoy. And to demonstrate how those welcoming lights look like, they do like this cool little pulse type of motion. It's kind of nice, actually. Now, these headlights are what looks to be standard across the entire Mustang lineup, regardless on the trim package you select. However, the GT one that we did had the blacked out headlights. And comparing the two, they both look pretty similar. I like these new little DRL blocks that are located on top here. And each LED bulb right here, or LED light, I should say, they really do get the job done when it comes to nighttime driving. I have no complaints whatsoever. Definitely does illuminate the road really well to the point where you don't need fog lamps. Now, down here though, these are non-functional air vents. They're just there for appearance, but the center grille is all functional. Let's pop the hood real quick so I can show you some cool things. Now, there's a lot of engine play here available, which I like. Strut bar actually is included for this package. In addition to that, let me just grab the camera real quick. So your air intake looks to be located right here. Your airflow sensor is located here. So yes, this is your air intake. It's actually pretty big in my opinion, but there's plenty of engine space right here because of course we don't have the beefy V8 5.0 Coyote engine. So our throttle position right here where the air intake goes in. So this is where your throttle body is located. But maintenance wise, let's see, what do we got here? I can see the injectors located here. Spark plugs right above here, no engine cover, so it is easy to access. There's no need to remove manifolds or anything like that. So repairability, it's really easy to maintain this engine, which I like. Everything is really well exposed right here. Your battery, well, terminal battery is located here. So if you need to jump start another car or your car, you can just do that and ground it to one of these struts right inside right here, I'm assuming. Battery should be located in the trunk if that's the case, but your battery is located in the trunk, so there's no battery here, giving you much more engine space to work on. It's not bad. Belts are located right here, so yeah, this is easy to maintain. I also like the fact that it says Mustang right here, But I am curious to take off this engine, this filter real quick, because the 5.0 Coyote engine had like a little Easter egg, and I want to see if this one will have it, but something tells me it won't, because this looks like the same 2.3 engine that Ford been using on their other models. So no, there's nothing here aside from the filter, which uses one of these long ones. If this was my car, I personally probably would have swapped this with an aftermarket one, because there's too much plastic going on here. Oh, something I nearly forgot to mention, there's no more like hood latch. It's actually using these hydraulics now to hold the hood in place. Only con is you cannot raise this up even higher unless you disconnect them. Nice little modern day updates. And some funny little Easter eggs is you got a pony icon located here, just like the previous Mustang we were looking at. A pony located here. And then in the back over here, you see basically each generation of Mustang right here on the windshield. Sorry about the bird splatter. And then if we open up the trunk, which has a button back here, we can pop this open, and you'll also see a little Mustang Easter egg located right there too. Sorry about the lanyard swinging in the camera. But everything is exactly the same like the GT, especially from the back. But we do have a subwoofer located right here, and the sound system doesn't sound bad. It's actually pretty good. Just the thing I want to note, comparing it with the previous generation taillights, these are sequential, but they don't go in deep. These are just like blocks. Small blocks that go in. I remember the previous generation Mustang, I was able to fit my fingers down in there in those grooves, but this one's just blocks. Still look really good at night, I'm not gonna lie. Then back here, you do have an inflation kit for your spare tire, because there's no spare tire, but enough room to fit one if later on down the line you decide to get one of your own. As for the keys of the Mustang, this is how they look like. They look like the standard one that Ford been using for quite a while. It looks exactly the same like my Ford Raptor keys itself. So yeah, here's the side by side, and it does feature remote to start as well as the trunk release. And if you have the GT version, you can also use this to rev with the key fob, which is kind of interesting. But one of the cool ones, or less known features, but it's extremely popular on TikTok for some reason, is the capability to roll down all the windows by tapping once on the unlock and tap again, but just long hold. Your windows will actually roll down. You just cannot roll it up. It still has that feature. And then just like the previous video I mentioned, we do have a hole right here for your key if you need to have access to the door in case your key fob is dead. Previously this was covered, you had to take off a plastic bit just to have access to this. Now it's exposed. So for this Mustang, we do have massive Brembo brake calipers right there, including in the rear. We still continue having Brembos as well as additional pistons over here in the back as well. It's quite crazy how much braking power this car has. Even for a 4-cylinder EcoBoost, this thing has amazing braking distance, as well as equipped with Pirelli P0s tires. And then the rears are 255s for those wondering. And then this Mustang does feature the optional stripe seat belt, which this is how it looks like. It's optional, all personal preference, but I personally would have lived just fine without it. Alright, so inside the new Mustang, it still looks like a Mustang. There's no difference whatsoever. As soon as you get behind the wheel, this screams big, muscular muscle car. But with the premium version, cool things I like to highlight is the door sills. They actually do illuminate, but they continue having the projector of the pony icons projected near the doors. But aside from that, interior is very similar. You even have the drift e-brake capabilities right here, which is really electric. And then this model does have the Ricardo seats, like I previously stated in the intro of the video. But important things I like to tell you about is they're not ventilated, they're not heated seats, nor are they automatic. From my understanding, only the Dark Horse and very few selected models actually have a ventilated heated seats for the Ricardos. But for the EcoBoost version, at least this one in particular, does not have that, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, they're manual. Both the passenger and driver side are each manual. But now let's go in and talk about the hardware type of things and things you get with the premium version. So here we are on the back screen. Instrument cluster, exactly the same like the coupe version we had last time, the non-platinum premium version, but we have these different custom modes to select from, as well as normal, sport and track, and each has like their different animation theme as well, which is kind of cool. For custom, a pro tip I could give you right here for custom is, let's be real, whenever I start the car, it's a cold start, it's gonna be super loud. Sometimes pressing the pony icon to get to this screen, which allows you to change like the exhaust note, takes a long time, could take up to a minute, and by that time my significant other is already awake thanks to my exhaust. So what I like to do is right here where it says custom mode, I like to create a profile. So you could create up to like 3 or 5, 6 actually, I'm sorry. You create up to 6. And what I enjoy doing in this screen, also you could spin your car around like this and just create a profile that you like. And then for exhaust note, I'll keep it on quiet. So when I start up the car, I could quickly just change the different modes that it has and go to my personal custom one right here. And it'll quickly just silent the engine note as you're seeing right now. But once you select a gauge, the mode you like, of course, everything else is standard. Fuel economy, you can press. You can monitor your throttle for the best MPG right here, of course. You can change the steering wheel to like eco or sport. You want a really firm on the steering wheel. And of course you have your paddle shifters. Car does have automatic high beams, and this vehicle does feature blind spot monitoring, automatic braking in case you're about to rear end somebody. And to activate Ford's Co-Pilot 360, there's the button right here, right underneath the standard adaptive cruise control. You tap on here, it'll be blue, gives you the distance you want in front of the vehicle. You could adjust it right here, and then you just set the speed and the vehicle does its thing. It utilizes hand pressure, so you have to keep your hand on the steering wheel. But from my experience, you have to be supervising it. You cannot just let your hands off the wheel. So again, it's not wise to rely on this, but it definitely does come in handy, especially for the long road trips. Now, right underneath the air vents, there's 6 buttons right here you could select. You have your auto engine start, but then you have the Mustang icon, which when you press will take you to your My Mustang page. And here's a couple interesting things I like to show you. Not only can you change the exhaust note tone right here on demand if you really want to, but in track mode, or track apps I mean, you can enable line lock drift mode right here. So you can actually utilize that electric handbrake and quickly just use your handbrake to start drifting, as your dash will automatically change to this display showing you your tire PSI, temperature, and such. All the important things you need to know. It even automatically disables like traction control and such right here as you're seeing on the dash. So that's pretty cool, and this is where you go into enable that drift mode ability in the track apps. But what I want to show you is the brake performance. You can actually start that and see your results right here, see how well your brakes handle. You can do lap time. And now auxiliary gauges, this will just give you additional information. Typically these gauges will be available like elsewhere, but if you're looking for like your transmission temperature and such, they're located in this page. But in the custom mode, this is all the profiles I was showing you earlier, where you can actually adjust the suspension and stuff to your own personal preference. But in my opinion, there's really no need to have these profiles, because as you notice earlier in the adaptive dampers, there's only one mode. So the standard mode that this Mustang has in the instrument cluster is more than enough. This is just primarily, in my opinion, I just like using it for the exhaust if I want to quickly silence the vehicle in a cold start situation. But in my colors, you can actually change the instrument cluster, like the whole theme of your display, to your own personal preference. Just like that, you notice that the icons now changed. It's all fully customizable, and I wish more cars had this ability, especially the ones with full like displays like this. You can change the primary as well as secondary, and your ambient lightings, you can also change it right here as well, which is awesome. And then your cluster themes, so these are cool. So not only can you just leave it so it matches the mode, but you can override it so you can actually select the instrument cluster you like to see all the time, regardless on which mode you go, you select. But calm looks like this. It looks like a Ford Mach-E. But Fox body is one of the Easter eggs that's found on all digital display Mustangs. not just the premium, where you will have access to this retro display. So right now we have our headlights on, so it's illuminating neon green, just like an old school Fox body. And I think this one's my personal favorite, just for the retro vibe. It looks gorgeous. I'm telling you, the camera cannot do justice. Again, it only glows neon green when your headlights are on, but if we go ahead and turn them off, they go back to illuminating white. So with the headlights on, they look like this. Pretty awesome. As for settings, there really isn't much settings. I just like the fact that this window allows you to multitask, as you can check your media, your average MPG, your navigation could be less displayed here, all right here, allowing you to multitask. But in terms of like hidden features in the settings to like adjust, to unlock more things, there really isn't much. Everything else is very self-explanatory. But if your window remote option on the key fob isn't working, like I previously demonstrated, you'll find it in vehicle settings in Windows, and just make sure you enable it to have that ability. Then in the lighting settings, if you go in here, this will also be where you'll find your auto high beams if it's not working for you. Then with the passive mode, to have the vehicle lock or unlock by itself, you'll find it unlocks. You could auto unlock it, mislock sharp in case you leave a door open on accident. You can have all these settings all enabled or disabled. And it also monitors your tire mobility kit. So 4 years is how long they last until you need to replace that fluid. So it monitors this inflation kit back here, but I think it's kind of awesome. Now this Mustang does have heated steering wheel. You'll find a heated steering wheel right there. But again, we do not have ventilated seats, so it doesn't show any of that with our seat setup. And funny thing is, it also displays a manual stick for some reason on the ventilation. I just noticed that. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, if your main display, whatever for some reason this thing is acting funny, is not responsive, by holding down volume down and the next skip track for 10 seconds, this will force the screen to reset. And there you go. It's rebooting. So that's how you could override this to reset in case it's acting funny. Aside from that, you do have wireless charging capabilities right there, as well as USB-C, USB-A, and you have a 12-volt outlet right there for your radar detector or radar 12-volt outlet needs. This is the 10-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. If you like to go back to drive, you just long hold the plus button. Here for your paddles, this symbol right here, basically up gear. And then this will quickly put the vehicle back in automatic mode in case you're wondering how to do that without having to shift your knob. And no, it does not feature neutral, but this is not a dual clutch transmission. By holding both down at the same time will not do anything. I tried that, trust me. Center armrest, you do have another 12-volt outlet right here, which is kind of funny, as well as a little storage right there, as well as a clip to log on things. I don't know what. I am not going to attempt to sit back there. I already did it before. That was a nightmare. But with the premium version, you do have a USB-A port located right here, so you can easily mount like a dash cam or something like that right here on the windshield, where you can get power from, or a radar detector. And then this does have the My Mustang voice assistant, which you could either activate by simply tapping once at this button. It'll automatically activate the virtual voice assistant, or if you're using your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay and you want to use your phone's virtual voice assistant, you can just long hold right here. If you continue long holding, it'll pop up, Siri will pop up right here, or Google, depending on the phone you're using. So an issue that I did face is the favorite button right here, how to reprogram it. It's actually interesting, but somewhat confusing. You will assume long holding it will allow you to have access to this menu to customize it. Unfortunately, you do not. The way to do it is in this screen right here, where it says features, click on here, and then this is where you go in to edit your favorite. So for our car, we have exhaust mode to select from, a calm screen, or auto hold. And on manual cars from the GT we test drove, that was a 6-speed manual. That one allowed us to have active rev matching enabled or disengaged. So that's where you go in to edit your favorites and see which modes does your Mustang come with. But ours only has 3 options. And that is the EcoBoost Mustang. And honestly, this is an amazing daily driver. You're not gas guzzling. It gets an impressive 22 miles per gallon without me even trying. If I actually do try to like drive it hard lead foot, I'm sure I could damage that. But 22 miles per gallon, I'm sorry. It's actually respectably good for a pony car like this. This thing, for its value, you get an amazing handling car. So I'm actually personally really impressed for the EcoBoost Mustang. That 10-speed is actually really good. And maintenance, even for the 4-cylinder, it's really good. Easy to access everything. So this is actually, if I was in college and I didn't want to carry my friends around, I just wanted a 2-door with 2 seats. Even though these have 4 seats, good luck. This basically will easily encourage my friends not to ride along with me if it's a group of 1 or more people, of course, obviously, unless it's just a girlfriend or somebody I'm just seeing. This car would definitely be an amazing vehicle for that reason. But even after college, this is an amazing daily driver. Of course, V8 people will be like, you shouldn't got a V8, you shouldn't got a V8, you should have got a V8. If this is your only car, I mean, like, I would take this over a Honda anytime, regardless if it's a EcoBoost. These things are so easy to tune, and you could do some crazy stuff with it. And the amount of money you're saving for a non-forever car, if you plan on getting rid of it, like maybe in a decade, this is a vehicle right here. This is definitely a good daily driver for that reason, especially if you live in areas where parking is just so hard. And this vehicle, you could fit in any garage, any parking situation on like a pickup truck. So, but there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed my 2 cents of the Mustang and learned some cool tips and tricks, as well as highlights of its unique features that the Mustang EcoBoost can offer. Thank you so much for watching.